going on, everyone? So there are a world of questions when it comes to the upcoming Scream 7. There was like a little teaser that came out on TikTok that people thought was going to be an announcement for Scream 6. Some people I've seen kind of dissect some of the stuff and say like, oh, maybe this is a clue. Regardless, whatever ends up happening, I think Scream 6 is just a matter of when, not if. We have an idea that they're at least working on the script. But the problem is what's going to happen with like half of the characters. A real concern is the core four, right? You already have questions about Melissa Berrara. She's working on another project. She's going to leave. We got the reports that Jenna Ortega might not be a part of the upcoming Scream 7 because she has other obligations and stuff. And Scream, Paramount and Spyglass and that may not want to wait around for her, which makes a lot of sense. You kind of want to ride this hype train. And if that's the case, you may end up just having a Scream film with the Meeks twins. And at that point, what do you do? My thoughts, and the reason I wanted to make this video and talk about it, and of course hear yours, so let me know down in the comments below, is would they just make a new Scream, right, in general? Right? So, like, there were reports and rumors as soon as Scream 6, or even before Scream 6 came out, that were like, hey, Scream 7 may end up being its own thing. That they want to bring back the surviving characters, but they want to make it its own thing entirely. That makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, you're not going to have this tie-in. Scream 6 kind of felt like it was a nice conclusion to a lot of things. You could have your core four carry over into Scream 7 and then just tell a new story that doesn't tie in with Sam being Billy's daughter or, anything like that, right? It's just, they're involved, Ghostface attack breaks out, maybe they're just caught up in the middle. Maybe it's just somebody that just wants to kill just for the sake of killing, right? There's always a million possibilities in which they could make it make sense if they needed to. The other alternative is you might not have Melissa, you might not have Jenna Ortega, just make a completely different Scream movie, right? Just make something completely different. And if you need to at some point, you could always bring it full circle and tie it in, right? So like you could make a Scream 7 that doesn't have the core four characters, that maybe picks up even just months after, right? And we know Chad and everybody is working it out, and have a new group of teens that are being targeted, that are being attacked, and you tell that story, you develop those characters over the course of a film or two, and then you could have just a full circle tie-in back to the core four, and now you have, like, let's say 8 characters, 4 surviving in this new 2 style film, Scream 7, Scream 8, and then you have the 4 from, the core 4, the original core 4 that you see on screen, and they all come together for Scream 9, or maybe it's Scream 10 or something like that, or maybe you make that conclusion a part 1 of 2, and then Scream 9 and 10 is this huge blockbuster with like 8 or 12 or whatever characters all coming together, and maybe Mindy dies and Tara dies and 2 of the new characters that they introduced in the other installment, they end up dying. It's like, whoa, and what boils down, it's like Sam, Chad, and 2 other characters from these people in the final film, and then all that's left is like Sam or something like that, right? You could have this full circle, and you might be asking, well, how would you tie that in? How do you have something like that makes sense, right? You have Kirby. So in Scream 6, Kirby established that there were other Ghostface attacks going on constantly, and that there are other like little, groups that are being attacked regularly, right? That was her whole character. She was an FBI agent that specializes in Ghostface attacks. Well, we haven't seen her in any of the other attacks because she's been involved in other ones. She's even talked about other ones. She talked about how, it led her here. So you have kind of like that olive branch that was already developed in the past film. You had kind of a conclusive ending in Scream 6, right? Sam chose her sister, she dropped the mess. Chad got brutally slaughtered, but he survived. Minnie got tore up. Basically, everyone got tore up, right? They're going to need time to heal and recover. Maybe you even have Kirby be the gap, right? So you have Kirby investigating a new Ghostface attack, and you have these new 4 to 6 characters, whatever, and you tell this new movie, and that gets told. Kirby's kind of the bridge. You have the sequel to that, again, Kirby surviving kind of being the bridge. And then maybe, again, you have Scream 9 and 10 being the conclusion where everything kind of comes together. Maybe, you know, the Ghostface that is targeting these characters are now targeting, you know, Sam and Tara, and they want to like full circle bring them all together. Maybe you have a storyline that makes the tie-in and makes it make sense. Like, you could easily do something like that. So you could continue the Scream franchise. You could have, you know, allow Tara or Jenna, have Jenna and Melissa go do their projects, have everybody kind of go do their projects and say, hey, you know, we're going to pick this back up in a year or two. We're going to go and make these films, and then we're going to go full circle, tie back into you, and we're going to have these characters and yada, yada, right? Boom. Now you could have a full circle moment and you just basically sucked out 3 or 4 more films, and everyone's happy. The audience is happy. The characters are happy. The studios are happy. It's a win-win for everybody. Get a little more Kirby as like kind of like the main character, right? Like maybe you have like a new like, you know, Sam or Sydney-esque character, but like Kirby's kind of like the focus in these next 2 films. She's the one that's trying to solve the Ghostface attacks, right? And she's the bridge and the tie-in. And maybe, again, like I said, maybe you have a motive or you have some breadcrumbs that are sprinkled in that link this to Sam and Tara and Chad and Mindy. Maybe you even have like a phone call scene or something where Kirby's like calls Sam and is like, hey, Sam, just be on the lookout. I'm on a Ghostface hunt right now. You know, it doesn't look like you're a target, but I found this evidence that maybe could link you. So just, you know, watch your back type thing. And you kind of start developing these like little sub stories that all kind of lead to this grander type story. Think it's something that could really work, right? Get new killers, new motives, new characters. You're developing these characters almost like, you know, almost kind of like, you know, like what you see in like Marvel movies, right? You have like the stories of X character and all these other characters kind of bleed in. Maybe you even have Mindy and Chad kind of bleed into this one, right? And they kind of have their sequence or something like that. Or maybe they help save the day or something. And then there's your connection, there's your tie-in. And then, you know, you have that kind of Avengers Assemble type film where you have the core 4 meet up and team up with the whatever other 3 survivors from these last 2 films, and you got this 2-parter where a couple of them die, a couple of them survive, and then you have the big climax at the end, right? There you go. I think that that's something that could really work and something that could kind of keep Scream fresh for one. If it's successful, then you kind of have like a unique blueprint going forward because you could just keep doing that. You could just keep adding stories, like in little off-branch stories. You could, with that model, you could create Scream forever, right? I mean, the fact that they established Kirby as this FBI agent that hunts Ghostface attacks, you basically already got your open door for an endless amount of Scream films, right? And Paramount, Spyglass, and all of them, they want to have the connection. They want to have the tie-in, right? They want to keep pumping out these films. They need to make up that ground. They need to make up that money. They need to do all of those things. I fully get it. I fully understand it. I fully grasp it. So how do you do that if you can't keep Jenna Ortega? If you can't keep, you know, if Melissa Berrara is gone and Radio Silence, you know, and they're going to go do their thing, you're going to have a new director, so you're probably going to have a different type of Scream movie, all that stuff. Okay. Start with a new cast, a new Ghostface, a new director, new everything. You just start from scratch. Whole new film. And now you can have that tie-in to the previous 2 films. And look, if for whatever reason, because you might be thinking, like, well, what happens if Jenna Ortega becomes too big and you can't do that? You don't have to have it become full circle. You could still have the tie-in and the connections. Like I said, maybe have Mindy and Chad, but you don't have to have that big, you know, Scream 9, Scream 10 where the characters from the previous 2 movies and these current 2 movies all team up together to take down a bigger Ghostface. You don't have to go that direction if you can't guarantee it. Especially if these are successful, right? If let's say you do 2 new films with new characters and it's great, then you could just keep going that track. But you could make Scream 7 kind of have that connection to kind of draw in the audience at least. So the audience kind of is like, okay, like, oh, okay, so it is its own thing, but there are connections to the past 2 films, so it makes sense. And okay, cool, I see that. Oh, okay, I see that. Okay, cool, I'm on board. I get it, right? And you kind of get the audience to buy in, and then you can go whatever direction you need. It's kind of my thought with that. But it's just, I don't know, it's just an interesting thought that I thought about. And I was just like, I wonder if that's something that could work and make sense. And I do think it's something that could work and make sense. I think it would be kind of a nice way to kind of make your Scream films and continue your Scream films without having to have a hiatus while you're waiting for everybody. And then when everyone's ready to go, you just bring them in. Like, hey, you're waiting at the back door. Come on in. I don't know. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think of this idea? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think you could have the 2 new movies with these new characters and then have the full circle tie-in? Kind of Kirby being the bridge, being the gap. Think that would make a lot of sense. Plus, again, you already established that in Scream 6. So it's not like it's some crazy far-fetched, like, where did that come from? No, like, it was something that was already relayed to you. I just think it could work. But do you agree with me? Disagree with me? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, follow with the bell notification, stay up to date with all things Scream, join this wonderful community, and all of our discussions. See you all in the next one.